Welcome to The Path of Power, Volume 2. Happy Odin's Day. I am Odin Set. This is my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like if you like the content. This is volume 2 of my Path of Power journey. Mainly because what will be volume 1 is now at like 90 episodes and it needs to be broken down a little bit, and no one is going to want to join a path if it's just like, well, the latest episode is episode 647. Just needed to sort of be managed a little bit and to cover the new section of my journey. Now, I'm treating volume 1 as an initiation, if you like, which is focused heavily on the runes, particularly the Elder Futhark. And we'll get to runes shortly enough. There are some things I'm going to go through with this episode, which for me is called the Stag. Now, a couple of days ago, Monday, Marnie's Day, I was driving home from Eastbourne on the south coast of England, back to Kent, and merrily driving along, minding my own business, and up ahead on the left-hand side from the bushes, I saw a stag start to emerge to cross the road. I mean, he was crossing the road with no fucks given. It was like, yes, that's where I'm going, and I am not stopping. Fortunately, or as things were, I had saw him and slowed. Let's say a couple of seconds. I had a couple of seconds to preempt him crossing the road, slowing down. We kind of passed each other, and I watched him sort of in my wing mirror go on his merry way on the other side of the road into the bushes, and that was our encounter. Alarming. It's fair to say that this stag was handsome, and when I say he crossed the road like he had no fucks given, he was just cantering along, head high, magnificent antlers and that, and it was truly a privilege to see. Naturally, you then want to think about things and think about sort of, had I been going faster, or had I been a second earlier or a second later, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, it's while they're hypothetical things you can muse on, that's not what happened, so there's no point sort of entertaining what might have happened when what did happen. And really, did it mean anything? It's one thing to see a cat crossing a road, quite common, or see some dogs, blah, blah, blah. See a stag is, I say, it was a privilege to see it, and it felt a special moment, and I've spent a bit of time sort of, I suppose, simmering on it, because you don't want to make something of an occasion just because it feels out of the ordinary, but then you also sort of can't help but do that and sort of consider how that happened with what else you have going on around you in your life at that time. In thinking about it, it's just sort of, here you had this stag who didn't care what was around him. He was going where he was going, let's say, with no fucks given, and it was for everyone else to react to that how they choose to react to that. In my instance, it was respect and awe, really, and wonder, because it was a privilege to see, and a moment like that does feel special. I say, just going on his way and it being the responsibility of people or life around this stag and how they respond to his presence is I think that's there's a lesson in that. And say, the stag was being the stag. The stag was going where the stag wanted to go to. And I also think sort of really, if the stag has something blocking his path, he's got those antlers to butt heads with, to sort of either go, wait, get out of my way, or wait, I'm making you get out of my way. Well, unless it's sort of like an articulated lorry that will just sort of squish him. Which, that's for the most part a decision for someone else if that occurs. I mean, from my perspective, the priority is seeing such a thing. It is a privilege. What lesson do I take from that? Well, I mean, it's fair to say in my social environment at the moment, there's been some, I don't know, things to be concerned about. That's life. And you then sort of, do you question your decisions, or how do you deal with people that may be sort of bringing conflict into your life in some way? It's you got to be like a stag, really, to some extent. It's go about your business, whatever that may be, and deal with people with respect, and they should also in turn deal with you with respect, or you may butt heads, and then it's sort of whatever happens is whatever happens. That's what I guess I am trying to take from this, because I've been butting heads with one person in my social circles. It's not very pleasant. In particular, when I see sort of, or I have some conversations with some people that are witness to it, and their reactions, which to me tend to be red flags, because dealing with someone that some people are cautious about having upset, or having aggravated. I don't want to get into the queen bee thing too much. It's something, unfortunately, I've encountered a few times in my life. I'm sure everyone else has. I mean, I'm by no means am I saying I'm perfect in any way. I'm probably a bit of a proud stag myself in some respects, in that I have ways I like to do things, and I will often have problems adapting, or I am stubborn. I know that, and I do my best to overcome that. However, the queen bee that you can encounter in life I say I've encountered a few in my life. I have to deal with one at work. Is someone who likes to have their power, likes to let everyone know they have the power, and likes to exert it, especially if you in any way challenge it. And it creates a lot of unpleasantness. However, when you see sort of people being afraid or bullied by this person, I can understand some people don't want the grief. Grief is unpleasant. Confrontation is unpleasant. It becomes a red flag for me when I see that people would rather placate this person and let them have their own way, even if it's ridiculous, than confront them about it. Unfortunately, the only way to deal with these people is to confront them, or at least to see them for what they are. Other people, they may see them completely different, because a queen bee is very, very clever at manipulating people and being invaluable to people. That's probably about as much as I want to say on that for now. I'm still... And no. The problem that tends to happen when you deal or confront a queen bee is that there is sort of devastation. It doesn't always work out for the best. There is a fight of sorts. The fact that things change and it leaves scars. And I can emphasize with people who want to avoid that to some extent. I'm just not the sort of person that can let myself be bullied by that sort of person. Anyway, to one side, that's an unresolved thing that I will continue to work on and question myself, really, whether I'm giving this particular person the full benefit of doubt. The signs are there. I just haven't. Maybe it's an age thing. Because I've experienced it a few times and have one that I have to work with. I'm kind of jumping ahead of sort of the allowances I might have given this queen bee in particular, because I'm confident I'm not misjudging the situation. I'm just sort of maybe not giving enough sort of encounters to confirm it. Anyway, breathe. So I intended to do a video to get the Path of Power Volume 2 started today, and to some extent I wasn't quite sure how I was going to lead into it, but obviously last night I had a powerful visual dream, and as someone who is a lucid dreamer, I guess I've had a little bit of disconnect between ending the last section, the last volume, initiation, to starting or getting started on this playlist, on this journey, this continuing journey. And interestingly, this dream was a dream that achieved a goal in some ways, because one of the things I'm interested in experiencing is being a lucid dreamer. However, when you are in the dream, not exerting your influence. So it plays out and you don't exercise your power to manipulate your dreams. And last night, this dream, there was, for some reason, I had to collect some runes, which makes sense with various other things and stuff, and maybe having a lack of control ties in with some things about the stag and the queen bee and this path. And by the end of the dream, which may or may not have been when my alarm went off and sort of brought me out of it, I was looking for 2 runes in particular, and they were Uruz and Hagalas. For the life of me, was on this strange, large, sort of almost like a city centre street with shops, and looking in these various sort of antiquity shops, trying to find these. I'd already collected a set, which again may refer to volume 1. I'd already collected a set, and for a reason that now eludes me, I had to collect another set. Or there was someone else in the dream, and I was maybe helping them, or they were there with me for some reason, and I was trying to get a second set. I could not find Uruz and Hagalas. And I think really, when I think of the 2 runes, it's quite fitting that as we move into this second volume, as I go deeper, or I'm preparing deeper to go into the runes, and especially with my challenging theory that I'm going to go forward without physical runes, physical representation of the runes, there is a certain amount of strength or courage required to go into this sort of adversity or chaos, and that there will be transformation, or it is a transforming process. And I've got to hold true to my beliefs, what's in my core, and see what comes of it, really. And really, that concludes me to, I don't know, thank myself, subconscious, or tapping into the power of the runes, that this is the right way to start this second stage, and the warning signs are there that this is probably should be harder than the first stage, and that it will require some inner conviction, some depth, some strength to, go forward, maybe with no fucks given like the stag, and to be prepared to butt heads with my antlers when I need to. That seems to all fit together. Maybe I am making it all fit together. I'm making a convenient sort of story of what has occurred over the past week, or the past weeks, or the past months, since sort of my final week with the last rune. It is a journey of exploration. It is a journey of awareness and discovery, finding out what we possess within us to make our journey through life and whatever is beyond. So, if you're still here, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's given you your own food for thought, your own encouragement to follow your own path. All our paths are different, and I can only sort of relate my journey in the hopes that it helps you. Be good and take care, and I'll see you on Friday, on Flicks Day, when I will sort of continue with my traditional cycle of practice by, I don't know, looking up some aspects of what I've discussed in this video, what I'm experiencing, in the hopes that Flig will guide me in some way. Do take care. Bye.